years ago, Congress raised the minimum wage to $7.25 an hour. Now some congressmen want to raise it to $10 an hour. And that sounds reasonable. It's more like closer to a living wage. And it's logical to think that raising the minimum will give every worker a little more to spend, and that'll be good for them and the economy. They'll spend, people will hire more. Yippee, it's win-win. It's no surprise that 2/3 of Americans support a $10 minimum wage. One of the congressmen who sponsored the $10 minimum is Minnesota Democrat Keith Ellison. He tells me that without the minimum wage,
an employer will pay the least they can, even if they could pay more, because why they can get away with it. People would be paid 10 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents.
Well, it sounds logical.
Money, it's a gas. Grab that cash with both hands.
Now, when it comes to the minimum wage, what we've seen is that most studies indicate that, in fact, it does not have a big impact on employment, but it does have a big impact on a portion of our workforce that works full-time but right now is still in poverty. Even if they're working 40 hours a week, they are still making less than is required to get above the poverty line. And the truth is that the purchasing power for the minimum wage is still significantly lower than it was back in the 80s. And what we would do would be able to set that mark and then index it. What's happening right now is not that corporations and most companies would be somehow obliged to go out of business because they're providing a little higher wage to minimum wage workers. It might have some modest impact on their profits, but the fact of the matter is, if we're going to have a society in which we've got broad-based prosperity, those same businesses also have to worry about the customers have money in their pockets. Henry Ford, when people asked him, why is it that you're giving these big raises to your assembly workers? He said, the only way I'm going to be able to sell enough of my product, these cars, is to make sure that the people who are building them can actually afford to buy one. And
This is Miguel Esparza. He is a graphic designer at Custom World and All-in-One Group Media. And he's been working there for almost about 2 years already, and he's agreed to have an interview about minimum wage. So, have you ever worked for minimum wage, or have you worked off of minimum wage?
Yeah, I had a minimum wage job in high school. I was like around 17 or 18. It was like at a restaurant. I got $8. That was a minimum wage, and I ended up like getting about $9 when I left. So yeah, that was minimum wage.
All right. Oh, do you feel like the minimum wage should increase, because on this July, in a month or so, that it's gonna increase to $9 an hour now instead of $8? So do you think that it should still have increased since at least to the 10-10 to what Obama has said, or his proposal, but only the federal jobs were given the 10-10, or in some certain places? But how do you feel like, do you think that the minimum wage should still increase, or should stay at $9?
Stay at $9?
Yeah. It's gonna about increase to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could at least go to like 9, 10 or something. Something like that. So yeah, I mean, it could go up because, I mean, you really can't live off of $9 or $8, so you kind of need a little more.
All right. Thank you.